Your one click on the subscribe button makes a huge difference. Thank you for your kind support.
NCIS Season 22, Episode 17, titled Killer Instinct, is a gripping episode that keeps audiences on the edge of their seats from start to finish. The episode opens with the NCIS team capturing a hitman named Paul Morton, who is notoriously known as the Poet, due to his eerie habit of leaving a poem at every crime scene. Morton is suspected of numerous contract killings and is believed to have assassinated Lieutenant Commander Ryan Willis. However, things quickly take a turn when the team realizes Morton's latest crime doesn't fit his usual pattern. There was no poem left at Willis's murder scene. This immediately raises questions within the team, as they begin to unravel the mystery behind who hired Morton and why. When Morton is brought into custody, the first mystery the team confronts is how they came to know about him in the first place. They received an anonymous tip that identified Morton as Willis's killer. Although this seems like a valuable lead, the team cannot overlook how suspicious it is. Morton's reputation as a hitman who always leaves a calling card stands in contrast to this crime. Why would he deviate from his highly distinctive modus operandi? While FBI records tie Morton to a string of contract killings, this case feels different, and the absence of his signature poem leaves the team with more questions than answers. This deviation is one of the early mysteries driving the episode forward. The NCIS team begins their investigation into Morton's background and recent activities. Searching his motel room, they find numerous troubling items: large amounts of cash, multiple passports, a sniper rifle, and a collection of poetry books. Each of these items solidifies Morton's position as an elite, professional hitman. However, unlike his previous murders, Morton seems far sloppier in his execution, leading the team to suspect that something is amiss. The team's forensic scientist, Casey, confirms early on that the ballistic evidence from Morton's gun matches the weapon used to murder Lieutenant Commander Willis. But without the trademark poem, they begin to suspect that either Morton's client interfered or something unusual occurred. The presence of the anonymous tip further complicates the investigation. Cybersecurity analysts are brought in to trace the origin of the tip, but they are met with challenges due to heavy encryption. This trail sidetracks the team momentarily as they grapple with the fact that someone not only wanted Morton arrested but potentially wanted to shift focus away from deeper motives surrounding Willis's murder. This unknown figure becomes an invisible presence in the story, a puppeteer pulling strings from the shadows. As each piece of evidence unfolds, the team wonders who within their own circles might have given Morton away. Morton, during his interrogation, remains largely uncooperative. He refuses to reveal the name of the client who hired him, making it clear he values his code of professional silence. Morton's arrogance and confidence during questioning give the impression that he doesn't fear the consequences of his crimes, but further scrutiny reveals that he is, in fact, desperate. Financially broke and backed into a corner, he is far from the invincible hitman he once seemed to be. His financial troubles also explain part of his decision-making, showing that he was perhaps rushed into this particular hit due to extenuating circumstances. The NCIS team seizes on Morton's state of vulnerability, using it to pressure him into revealing more details. However, Morton appears to be holding on to a secret too dangerous to share. As the plot thickens, the team connects the dots to Chief Warrant Officer E.M. Garza, a man who lives directly across the street from the cafe where Morton was arrested. Morton's phone is later discovered to be full of photos of Garza, indicating that he was Morton's next intended target. This revelation shifts the investigation's focus from simply solving Willis's murder to protecting Garza, who clearly has a bullseye on his back. Garza himself seems confused and scared when approached by NCIS, and his statements don't immediately clarify why he would be targeted. These moments heighten the intrigue. If Morton was hired to kill Willis and then Garza, could the two men share some connection the team hasn't yet uncovered? Meanwhile, tensions within the team become a subplot, revealing personal dynamics that play into NCIS's institutional culture. Timothy McGee grapples with his growing suspicion of Deputy Director LaRoche, who was recently brought into NCIS from outside the agency. Having lost out on the position to LaRoche, McGee's jealousy and mistrust create an atmosphere of personal conflict. McGee believes that LaRoche is overly secretive and manipulative, withholding critical information from the team. This subplot delves into workplace politics, exploring the difficulty of integrating an outsider into a close-knit team and the potential distrust that emerges when colleagues suspect hidden agendas. McGee's suspicions feel both personal and professional, adding tension to an already complicated investigation. LaRoche, while polite and professional on the surface, has an enigmatic presence throughout the episode. His conversations with the NCIS team, especially McGee, are laced with subtext. Notably, McGee discovers a mint under his desk that he attributes to LaRoche's snooping habits. This seemingly trivial moment is played for laughs but also reflects McGee's growing paranoia about the deputy director's true motives. The interpersonal dynamics between LaRoche and McGee highlight the reality that solving high-stakes cases often comes with internal tensions that mirror the external mysteries they confront. The narrative takes a significant turn when Morton begins reciting lines from a poem during his detention. He quotes Alan Seeger's "I have a rendezvous with death," a haunting piece that reflects on mortality and fatalism. The inclusion of this poem is not arbitrary. It reinforces the symbolic significance of poetry in the episode. Morton's identity as the poet is tied not just to his crime scenes but to a deeper philosophy about death and inevitability. Reciting the poem seems to be his way of resigning himself to his fate, suggesting that he may already know that his days are numbered, regardless of what happens in interrogation. This scene reaches its dramatic peak when Morton inexplicably collapses during his recitation. The team realizes he has poisoned himself, an act that shifts the investigation yet again. Morton's suicide attempt is a climactic moment, underscoring his determination to protect the identity of his client at all costs. It also creates a chilling ambiguity. Is Morton's allegiance to his client born out of fear, loyalty, or something else entirely? His willingness to die rather than confess deepens the overall mystery of the case. Morton's collapse leads to a sudden ticking clock scenario. NCIS must not only save his life but also extract crucial information before they lose their only link to figuring out who hired him. This moment is also significant in terms of foreshadowing. The poetic words Morton chooses to speak before collapsing hint at his recognition of a larger game being played, one where he knows he is expendable. His actions suggest that the true villain, the person who ordered the hits, is far more powerful and dangerous than initially thought. The episode ends on a suspenseful note, with the NCIS team scrambling to piece together the remaining puzzle pieces. While Morton's survival is left uncertain, the bigger question emerging from the episode remains unanswered: who is pulling the strings? The anonymous tip, as well as Morton's unusual behavior, point to a higher-level conspiracy involving not just Willis but Garza as well. By the end of the episode, the audience is left reflecting on the shadowy forces at play, along with the ethical dilemmas faced by those who must uncover the truth. Thematically, Killer Instinct explores the moral weight of loyalty and secrecy, particularly in professions where life and death loom large. Morton's refusal to give up his client delves into the question of how much individuals are willing to sacrifice to protect their principles, or to protect themselves. McGee's subplot with LaRoche parallels this theme, as suspicion and hidden motives create conflict within an organization that relies on transparency and trust to function effectively. Symbolism plays an important role, especially through Morton's nickname and the poems sprinkled throughout the story. Poetry becomes a metaphor for the way individuals express the inexpressible and confront mortality. The absence of a poem at Willis's murder scene symbolizes a disruption or interference in the poet's usual pattern, hinting at someone else's involvement. It leaves the audience pondering layers of meaning, much like how poetry often encourages readers to look below the surface. The episode fits well into NCIS's larger legacy of combining crime-solving with human drama. It follows the formula of introducing layered mysteries, only to reveal deeper, interconnected stories behind them. However, Killer Instinct stands out because of the emphasis on Morton's enigmatic character and the unresolved tension between LaRoche and McGee. This combination of institutional drama and external danger keeps viewers engaged, setting the stage for future episodes to potentially explore the fallout of this case. In the end, NCIS demonstrates its signature ability to juggle multiple threads while keeping the core mystery intact. Killer Instinct doesn't tie up all the loose ends, instead leaving viewers anticipating what revelations and consequences might unfold as the season progresses.